Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. I've got a fun video for you guys today. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to title this one yet. Basically, I've got some new makeup products that you guys have seen me use recently, but I really want to use them again. I have some leftover products from some orders that I placed earlier in the month that I have not used for you guys, but I really need to show you. And then I pulled in some old favorites, some neglected products that I thought it was buy time that I used, and this is the look that I have come up with today. I absolutely love it. Kind of a put me in a good mood makeup look when it's not quite spring or doesn't feel like spring outside, but you wish that it was. Well, this is my remedy for those feelings. Anyone else feeling that way? I'm excited to share it with you guys, but before we do, special welcome to anyone new here. Thank you for joining today. I hope that you enjoy this video and I hope you'll subscribe before you leave. Also make sure notifications are turned on. And with that said, let's get right to it. All right, we're gonna start with a primer. I wanna use my Milk Hydro Grip Primer again. I used this a couple days ago in a video of new makeup for you guys, and I really enjoyed this. So we are going to use it again today. As I mentioned, this one's not quite as thick and sticky as the e.l.f. one. It blends a little bit better. It's a little bit more hydrating as well, which I love. I need the hydration. All right, let's move into foundation. So I tried this foundation out for you guys in the Target video that I did. This is the Makeup Revolution IRL Filter Foundation. I actually really loved how this wore on my skin. It minimized my pores and looked really kind of soft, but the color match is really bad. I picked up F4. This one's a little bit too light. The undertone is just not quite right for me. It's kind of more of like a pinky, cool undertone. It's not quite warm enough, so I wanted to try and combine it with this one today. I've tried some other foundations in shades in my collection. I haven't quite found the perfect match, but I'm thinking that this Kosas shade, which is 210 Light Medium Neutral Olive, this is a really warm foundation. It's very like yellowy green. I know that sounds weird, but I feel like this one's almost too warm for me and this one is too cool. So I'm hoping if we mix them together, we'll get a good match. I probably put way too much on the back of my hand. Let's apply this with a sponge because I have so much here. I should probably take a look online, see if they have more shades to pick from. If I decide I want to grab another one, because I do like the finish of it. Normally I don't like these kind of foundations that are more mattifying, but I just noticed how smooth this made the center of my face look. So this is interesting. I do still feel like the finish of this one, kind of the more matte finish, is overpowering the dewier finish of the Kosas. All right, so I feel like a pump of each was just the right amount with the sponge. That shade match looks just about right. I like the finish of it. It definitely still has that more mattifying, kind of soft matte finish. All right, let's move on to concealer. I want to dip back into the Physicians Formula concealer. I used this, again, just very recently. And I really love this concealer so far. I haven't noticed any breakouts yet. This will be my third time using it today, so let's give it a try here. So this shade is light medium. I do need two shades of this one. Light medium is perfect for the center of my face. I could probably get away with this shade on some of these spots, but I like using the next shade down from this one. That is the bad thing about this foundation. I think it only comes in 6 shades, so it's going to be tricky for pretty much anyone to find their perfect shade unless you just happen to perfectly match one of the 6 shades. This one is the medium to tan. We're going to use that on some of these larger spots. Here, I do feel like this one is finally starting to heal. I've been dousing it in rosehip seed oil at night, which I think is helping. So creamy, super hydrating. I didn't notice a lot of settling into my lines, especially under my eyes. So it seems to wear really well. It's not drying, has a really nice natural finish. Great coverage. And it smells delicious. It's not very strongly scented, but it does have a subtle kind of sweet coconutty scent. I don't know if that's coconut. It's more like pineapple-y, I don't know, tropical sort of scent. And I was happy to see that it's not super expensive. I think it's like $9.99. You can get it on Target or Walmart's website online. Okay, let's add a little bit of powder. I'm just gonna take my Rimmel Stay Matte on my eyelids, across the center of my forehead where my lines are, side of my mouth and nose. Okay, here is my throwback product, my very neglected. Any of you still own the Giant Milk Makeup Bronzer? I've not used this thing for a while. You guys know, if you've been watching me for a long time, that this is an old holy grail for me. I still really love this stuff. Anytime I try out some new cream bronzers and then go back to this one, I'm always surprised at how much I still think this is one of the best. Mine is a little old. According to the packaging, I should have thrown it away by now, but I don't usually pay attention to that sort of thing. I just like to apply mine with a brush. Just gonna tap it back and forth. I did put quite a bit on my brush. A little bit on the sides of my nose. And then I like to kind of go in like a round motion here. This is a warmer bronzer. But once it's all blended, it just looks so naturally sun-kissed. So with what's left on my brush, I like to go kind of right here by my ear, blend it down to my neck. All right, there we go. Still so good. Let's add some blush. So I have a blush this is from Can Make. I got this in a Yes Style video quite a while ago. So I picked this blush not just because it's been neglected, but it happens to match the lip product that we're gonna be using today. It goes really well with that one. It's just like a vibrant kind of poppy. Actually, you know what this looks just like? Very, very similar to this one right here. This is from Fenty. This is Petal Poppin'. Might be a little bit more kind of vibrant, but very similar on the cheeks. Just gonna take it on my Alter Ego number 4 and just tap it right into the pan, go on the back of my hand, and then start building this up. Such a pretty day outside today. It is cold. It has been such a cold, cold spring, but the sun is finally out. All right, so I'm trying to decide 2 highlighters that I'm back and forth between. This Lottie London one I think is so, so good. I will link this down below in case you can still get your hands on it. I got this for like $5 on Ulta's website, but I also really love the liquid highlighter from Physicians Formula. Let's try this one again, mainly because I want to try these enough days in a row to make sure they don't break me out. So far, nothing's broken me out, but sometimes it takes a few days for something that's going to give my skin trouble to kind of appear, for that trouble to appear. So I'm just taking it on the back of my sponge, and then we're gonna tap that right on top of the cheekbones. Try and keep this towards the outer half of my cheek area. I think I'll like that even more when my cheeks start to heal up. I have just a couple of old breakouts here that are still kind of healing. So you can see some of that coverage that I put down has started to lift, but I still think that's such a pretty natural finish. All right, let's go to the brows next. I have another neglected product. Do you guys remember me trying out the semi-permanent brow ink from Revlon? Kind of gotten into a brow pen rhythm, so we're gonna try this one out today. I do love my Milani Weekend brow. I feel like that one's already running out on me. I'm pretty sure this even made it into a favorites video at one point, but it has been a while since I've used it. Really quick before we get to that, let's just take a little bit of my Shape and Stay, the spoolie on the top end of this, and just brush that up. How many of you guys have a very rigid brow routine? Like you have your brow routine down and you don't change from that ever? Like it's not something that you experiment with? I think there's probably a lot of people out there that are like that. I am very experimental with my brows, partly because I feel like I have yet to become a brow expert, and I'm kind of determined to sort of get there. So I'm always trying different things out and waffling back and forth on what I think works best. I know that's probably aggravating for you guys, because I'll tell you this is the best brow product, and then I'll tell you the same thing about something totally different 3 or 4 months later. I'm gonna go back to my Essence Brow Styling Soap. Another thing that I've really been loving. I'm kind of going back and forth between these two. The NYX one and this one. They're very different, but I love them both equally. And I think in the video where I tried this one out, I told you guys I was probably going to throw the spoolie away. Don't throw your spoolie away. I actually have changed my mind. I found that some of my other spoolies that aren't angled like this don't fit into the product very well. So this actually does work pretty good, even though it's kind of obnoxiously small. And if I ever want to travel with it, it's convenient to have the brush in the pan. This stuff does not budge though. You've got to get the consistency just right though. My brush has to be wet enough, but not too wet. If it's too wet, then they don't dry fast enough. But if it's not wet enough, it doesn't pick up enough product. So there's kind of a learning curve to this. And you can kind of feel it. Like it feels a little like sticky inside of your brows, which doesn't really bother me though, as long as it looks good. That's all I care about. Sounded a little vain. Hopefully you guys can see that though. Did you see how feathery and fluffy my brows look. I absolutely love that. Okay, let's move on to some eyeshadows. So I do have an eyeshadow palette. This is kind of a leftover product from the Ulta Beauty video that I did. I have used it myself and I was really impressed with it, so I wanted to come on here and use it with you guys. This is from Lottie London. This is the Rose Golds palette. Unfortunately, this one was out of stock last time I checked, which was a day or two ago. They did have a few other color options available still, so I'll link those for you guys down below. I know that's kind of annoying, but I'm really impressed with the quality of these shadows. I picked this thing up for like $3.50. That is crazy. Makes me really sad that they appear to be cleaning out the Lottie London products from Ulta's website. But I did notice one of the blushes that I couldn't find on the Ulta website I found on Walmart.com, so maybe I can find this somewhere else. If I can, I will link it for you guys. It's a pretty basic palette. I'll insert some swatches of it for you right here in case you're curious or interested, or in case I can find it somewhere. But let's just try it out today. We're gonna do the pink rather than the peach color. I feel like it will go with my lip a little bit better. I was planning out the rest of my videos for the month this morning, trying to decide what kind of videos I want to finish the month off with, and realizing favorites video time is just a week away. And I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes that are in the running, a lot that I've really loved, so I need to really shuffle them in and figure out which ones I like the very most. I always hate to overwhelm you guys with eyeshadow palettes in a favorites video. It's easy for me to do because I tend to fall in love with a lot of eyeshadow palettes. I'm not very critical. Unless they just truly suck, they can usually win me over pretty easily. And I also just kind of feel like a lot of makeup brands, drugstore or high-end, have just kind of figured out the eyeshadow formula thing. Anyone else feel that way? Like, I feel like it's hard to find a really truly crappy eyeshadow palette these days. Maybe I'm the only one that feels that way. All right, now we're gonna go into this shade right here, which is kind of like a rosy mid-tone brown. So pretty. Let's just use that same brush. We'll just go slightly below where I put that last shade. Just gonna slowly darken this outer corner up. It's not gonna get too dark though. This palette is not smoky. It's pretty natural looking. All right, now let's go to a different brush. This one's a little bit smaller. These are all from Sydney Grace. I have not used my Rephr brushes as much lately because I washed them 2 or 3 weeks ago, and now I've just been going back and forth between my Sydney Grace and my Persona brushes because I don't want to get my Rephr brushes dirty. One thing I'm noticing though, I love the Rephr brushes. They are some of my favorites, but mine are getting a little bit old. And I do feel like as they get a little bit old, they start to get just a tiny bit scratchy. So compared to these Sydney Grace ones, the Persona brush, which are both pretty new, they sometimes feel a little bit scratchy on my eyes, which is crazy because I have never noticed that before. Now for some shimmers, let's see. So here we have the shimmers right here. These two are my favorite. So let's use those two. That's the bronze in the middle. Let's start with that one. We're gonna use that on the center of the lid. This one is not super metallic, but it has a really pretty smooth reflective quality to it. All right, now we'll go in with this shade right here. This is the shade I think is just so impressive. Seriously, give me a champagne that is just really punchy, smooth, reflective, pigmented, and you will win me over. Okay, there we have it. I want to take just a tiny bit more in the lower lash line. I'm going to take this color right here. Actually, let's use a different brush. I want to be a little bit more precise. So let's go in with this brush. This is the back side, the apply side of the Persona brush. We're going to tap the edge of it into that shade. This is such a beautiful shade. I love this color. And just run it under the outer half of the lower lash line. I do want to do a kind of strong eyeliner. And if I'm doing a lot of eyeliner, I like to have some shadow underneath. Now for some eyeliner, we're gonna use my Persona brown liner today. I need something nice and long wearing. My son has a tennis match today and it's supposed to be pretty windy, so hoping this will hold up to my watery eyes. All right, now for some mascara. I'm gonna use my highly rated mascara from Milani. I'll apply this, then I'll come back and we'll finish off with the lips. Eyes are all finished. Now we're gonna add some lip color. So I have one of my favorite lip products to reach for in the spring. It's a bold lip color from Flower Beauty called Melon Pop. I absolutely love this color. It's kind of a orangey pink. It's a bright, vibrant orangey pink. It's basically like a neon coral, like between a coral and a red. Let's just apply it and let you guys see. I always feel like in my lights it looks less pink than it is in person. It does have more pink in it than orange, and it is seriously, seriously bold. So we're going to apply this today. I usually just like to go in with the wand, and then we'll add a little bit more with the brush and kind of fix the shape. All right, now we're gonna take a lip brush and fix the shape of my lips. I think if you're doing a bold lip, unless you have just really naturally full lips, it's always important to do just a little bit of fudging, a little bit of overlining. So that's what the brush is for. Okay, and here we have the finished makeup look. Love how this one turned out. It has been a while since I've done a bold lip, and this one is definitely one of my favorites, especially for spring or summertime. Nice and bright and poppy. But that is going to do it for today. Thank you guys for stopping by, for watching. I hope you guys are doing well. Let me give you one final reminder. Please subscribe before you leave, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye. How was school?
Good.
What'd you guys do today? Did you find out what crazy day it was today? Was it crazy hair day? Did you see your lunch up there? I made you a lunch. Yeah? Did you wash your hands yet?
Yeah.